You ever think about, hold on, let me wind these windows up. There, now where was I? Ah, yes. The roads we take, the choices we make. You think you're in control, behind the wheel, cruising through life. But what if I told you there are forces beyond your control, lurking in the shadows, steering you towards your fate? Out there, it's quiet, but in here, the real story begins. Welcome to Shadows of Dominion.
We've got one shot at this. No mistakes.
Ethan Drake, a man driven by purpose and haunted by his past. In a world where shadows hide the truth, Ethan will stop at nothing to save his family.
The power we seek is not for the faint of heart.
Seraphina Blackwood, keeper of ancient secrets, bound to forces beyond this world. In a battle where magic reigns, her knowledge will be the key to survival.
There's something bigger happening here. Something no one's talking about.
Rebecca Hart, a truth seeker in a world clouded by shadows. Skeptical of the supernatural, yet drawn into a world where the impossible is reality. They've been watching, waiting, controlling. For centuries, they've remained hidden, pulling the strings from the shadows. Their influence stretches across the globe, but now they're ready to emerge. Ethan Drake had seen many things in his life, things that would haunt lesser men. But as he slept, the ghosts of his past refused to let him rest. In the dead of night, amidst the chaos of a war-torn desert, Ethan led his team into the heart of enemy territory. The mission was simple: get in, secure the target, and get out. But things rarely go as planned.
Move in. We've got one shot at this.
The compound loomed ahead, fortified and silent. Too silent. A cold dread settled in Ethan's gut. A soldier's instinct honed over years of battle, but they pressed on.
Clear, but something's wrong. Fall back! It's an ambush!
The trap was sprung, a calculated, ruthless ambush that tore through the compound like a wildfire. Ethan's world turned to dust and echoes as he was thrown to the ground, the voices of his comrades fading into oblivion. And then, silence. The kind that follows you into your darkest dreams and drags you into the cold, unforgiving reality of waking life. Ethan Drake awoke in his bed, far from the deserts of his nightmares. But as he looked around the quiet room, the haunting images refused to fade. Because for Ethan, the past was never just a memory. It was a shadow that clung to him, refusing to let go.
Just a dream.
Morning came, as it always did, bringing with it the deceptive comfort of routine. The neighborhood was alive with the sounds of children playing, birds singing, and the hum of distant traffic. But for Ethan, the day felt heavy with an unnamed dread. It was a quiet morning, one of the few that Ethan Drake had come to cherish. For all the danger and uncertainty he faced in the world outside, home was his anchor, a place where time slowed down and the weight of the world could be forgotten, if only for a while.
You're always the first one up, Ethan. I don't know how you do it.
Years of military training. Plus, someone has to make sure the coffee doesn't burn.
Batman could totally take out Iron Man. He's got way better gadgets.
No way! Iron Man's suit would destroy him in a second.
For a moment, everything was simple. The laughter of his children, the smile on Laura's face. It was a fleeting glimpse of a life he wished could last forever.
Duty calls.
Do you have to go today? You promised you'd be here all weekend.
He wanted to stay. He wanted nothing more than to stay. But there were things in the world that couldn't wait. Things that had a habit of pulling him back into the chaos.
Just one call. I'll be back before you know it.
But fate had other plans, and soon, this quiet morning would be a distant memory, a part of the life Ethan could never truly protect.
I'll see you guys later. Try not to have too much fun without me.
We'll try. Drive safe.
Ethan didn't want to leave. The feeling gnawed at him as he stepped outside. A soldier's instinct, a subtle warning he couldn't quite place. But duty called, and some things couldn't be ignored. The day dragged on. The usual noise of the world around him faded into the background as Ethan went about his routine. But something felt off, a quiet tension pulling at the edges of his thoughts. He brushed it aside, focusing on the task at hand. The house stood in the same place it had been that morning, unchanged, unmoving. But as Ethan stepped out of the car, that feeling came rushing back. Something was wrong. He just didn't know what. Ethan moved through the motions of the day, retrieving the mail, checking the familiar surroundings. But then something caught his eye, an envelope, plain and unmarked, with his name scrawled in an unfamiliar hand. Inside was a single piece of paper, upon which a strange symbol had been hastily drawn, a circle intersected by lines, with a small X at the center. It was nothing Ethan recognized, yet it stirred something deep within him, a sense of unease that he couldn't shake.
Come on, pick up.
But there was no answer. The familiar voices he sought in his old contacts had gone silent, leaving Ethan alone with his growing sense of dread. He returned home, but the silence that greeted him was unlike any he'd known. The house, usually filled with the sounds of laughter and life, was now eerily still.
Laura. Kids?
No response. His heart pounded as he followed a dark trail, leading him to the children's room. The sight that awaited him stole the breath from his lungs. The room was a wreck, furniture overturned, toys scattered, and on the wall, drawn in what could only be blood, was the same symbol from the letter, the symbol of something ancient and sinister. Ethan's world spun as he realized the unthinkable. His family was gone, taken by forces he could barely comprehend, and all that was left behind was a symbol and a burning need for answers. The rain came down in sheets, blurring the world into a gray haze. But Ethan Drake had no time to stop. His family was out there, somewhere in this city, and every moment felt like a lifetime lost.
Yeah? Did you find anything?
But the answers were elusive. His contacts, old friends from his military days, could offer little help. The symbol was ancient, they said, connected to things best left forgotten, but that was all they knew.
Keep looking. There's got to be something. Anything.
With each passing hour, the city seemed to close in around him, its once familiar streets now a maze of shadows and secrets. And at the heart of it all was that symbol, a key to a door Ethan was terrified to open. Desperate for answers, Ethan sought out one of the few people who might have a lead, a journalist who had been digging into the city's darkest corners for years. Her name was Rebecca Hart, and she was known for chasing stories others were too afraid to touch.
You're late. I was starting to think you'd gotten cold feet.
Not exactly. You said you had information. Something about the disappearances?
Rebecca Hart was as sharp as her reputation suggested. Her eyes flicked up from the papers, studying Ethan with a mix of curiosity and caution. She had seen his type before, men who carried the weight of the world on their shoulders, and who were always a step away from breaking under it.
I might have something, but it's not much. The symbol you sent me, it's old, older than most written history, but it's been showing up more lately, connected to a series of, let's call them events.
Ethan looked down at the photo, a grainy image of a symbol, just like the one in his home, etched into the stone of an ancient ruin. Beneath the symbol was a date, scrawled hastily in red ink, April 12th, 1985.
What does this mean?
It means that whoever took your family is playing a long game. This symbol, it's tied to something big, something that's been moving in the shadows for a long time, and I think Dominion is behind it.
Dominion. The word sent a chill down Ethan's spine. It was a name he had heard whispered in the darkest corners of the world, always in connection with events that defied explanation, and now, it seemed, they had come for him.
What do they want with my family?
I don't know. But I do know that if Dominion's involved, this is bigger than you or me. We're talking about forces that don't care who gets hurt in the process. If we're going to find them, we need to be smart. And fast.
You won't find them alone, and you certainly won't stop what's coming without help.
Ethan turned to see a woman standing at their table, her presence commanding attention. She was different. Her eyes held a depth that spoke of knowledge beyond this world. This was Serafina Blackwood, and though Ethan didn't know it yet, she would be the key to everything.
Who the hell are you?
Someone who knows what you're up against. And if you want to save your family, you'll listen to what I have to say.
Ethan had no reason to trust her, no reason to believe that she was anything more than another wild card in a game he didn't understand. But as she spoke, there was something in her voice, something that made him think that maybe, just maybe, she could help him find the answers he so desperately sought.
There's no time to waste. Dominion's plans are already in motion, and they won't stop until they get what they want. But we can stop them, if we work together.
And so, with nothing left to lose, Ethan Drake did the only thing he could. He followed, into the night, into the unknown, and into the heart of a conspiracy that threatened to unravel everything he held